Welcome to another episode of Daily Sage Insights. Today we're tackling a question that many of us have faced at some point in our lives. What should I do when I feel alienated to the core in my current job or occupation? It's a question that feels deeply personal, and when you're in the thick of it, it can be overwhelming. But the good news is, you don't have to navigate these feelings alone. Today we'll be exploring this topic with the wisdom of renowned philosophers, real-life stories, and actionable steps that you can take to find clarity and make meaningful change. Stay with me until the end, because this may just help you find your way back to a more fulfilling career path. Feeling alienated in your job isn't just about disliking your work. It's deeper. It's about a sense of disconnection from the core of what you do, a feeling that the work you're doing has no true purpose, and that the values you hold dear don't align with the environment you're in. Alienation, in a philosophical sense, is the feeling of being cut off from the world around you, from your true self, or from other people. This term was famously explored by Karl Marx, who said that in a capitalist system, workers become alienated from the product of their labor, because they have no control over what they're creating. Instead, they're simply cogs in a machine, and that disconnect can lead to dissatisfaction, frustration, and a loss of identity. Now, you might not be in a factory assembly line, but the core concept still holds. If you feel like your job no longer aligns with your personal values, passions, or sense of purpose, the result is a profound sense of alienation. You may feel like you're performing a role rather than living a life of meaning. And this is where our journey today begins, by acknowledging that feeling alienated at work is not a failure on your part, but often a reflection of a misalignment between your values and the work you're doing. So, what can philosophy teach us about dealing with these feelings of alienation? Well, let's turn to the wisdom of the existentialists, thinkers like Jean-Paul Sartre and Friedrich Nietzsche. Both of them grappled with the notion of personal freedom, authenticity, and the struggle to find meaning in a world that often feels indifferent. Sartre, for example, argued that each individual is responsible for creating their own meaning in life through their choices and actions. For Sartre, the existential crisis you may be feeling in your job is a call to action. It's a sign that you've outgrown the identity that your current occupation has forced upon you, and it's time to reclaim your freedom and authenticity. He said, "Freedom is what you do with what's been done to you." If you feel alienated, this might be an invitation to explore new paths. Take ownership of your situation and reorient yourself towards something that reflects your true self. Nietzsche, on the other hand, famously spoke about the will to power, the inner drive that compels us to overcome obstacles, assert our will, and create something new. If you feel alienated in your job, Nietzsche would suggest that this is an opportunity for self-overcoming, for challenging the status quo and seeking out what truly brings you vitality. Nietzsche believed that we have the power to transform our circumstances by finding meaning in whatever we do, even in the most difficult situations. So, what should you do when you feel alienated at work? The first philosophical insight is that alienation is a sign that you are at a crossroads, and it's your opportunity to reassess, reimagine, and recreate your work life in a way that aligns with your values. Let me share a story about Anna, a 34-year-old graphic designer who worked for a large tech company. At first, she loved the creative aspects of the job, designing eye-catching websites, collaborating with talented teams, and having a sense of accomplishment at the end of each project. But over time, something began to change. The company grew larger, and the creative process became more corporate. She found herself working on designs that didn't inspire her, and that were only driven by profit margins, not passion. She started feeling disconnected from her work and eventually from her colleagues. The feeling of alienation crept in. Anna's story is not unique. Many of us experience this shift, where the work that once inspired us starts to feel hollow. But Anna didn't simply accept this fate. She remembered something that philosopher Albert Camus once said, "In the depth of winter, I finally learned that within me there lay an invincible summer." Anna took this as a reminder that even in the most challenging of times, there is an opportunity to find the light within. She decided to take a step back, reflect on her values, and pursue side projects that reconnected her to the creative work she truly loved. Over time, Anna found a balance that allowed her to combine her current job with personal passion projects that reinvigorated her sense of purpose. So, if you're in a position where you feel alienated in your job, what can you do? The first step is always reflection. You need to take a moment to honestly assess your current situation. Ask yourself, what is it about this job that makes me feel alienated? Are there specific tasks or interactions that drain me? What do I value most in a career? What kind of work truly energizes me? Consider small changes before making drastic ones. Often it's not the entire job that's alienating, but certain aspects of it. Could you request a shift in responsibilities? Could you take on projects that align more with your passions? Sometimes even a minor change can help you feel more connected. Reclaim your sense of purpose. In his work, Viktor Frankl, the renowned psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor, talked about the importance of finding meaning in any situation. Frankl believed that even in the most alienating and harsh environments, we can find meaning by how we respond to those circumstances. Perhaps it's time to redefine your role, to find a deeper purpose in the work that you do, or even to take steps toward a career that brings you more fulfillment. Consider long-term changes. If the sense of alienation persists, despite your efforts to reflect and adapt, it may be time to think about bigger changes. Maybe it's time to move on, to find a career that aligns more closely with your values. The key here is not to rush the decision, but to trust that with the right amount of reflection, planning, and courage, you can make a shift that leads you to a more fulfilling and authentic life. Feeling alienated in your job is not the end of the road. It's often the beginning of a new journey. It's a signal that something needs to shift, whether it's in your mindset, your job responsibilities, or your entire career path. The insights from philosophers like Sartre, Nietzsche, and Camus teach us that we have the power to create meaning, to redefine our paths, and to overcome alienation by seeking what truly aligns with who we are. If you're feeling alienated, take this time to reflect on your values, explore new possibilities, and above all, remember that change is within your reach. You have the power to shape your work life in a way that's fulfilling, meaningful, and true to you. Thank you for joining me today on Daily Sage Insights. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Share your thoughts or your own stories in the comments. How have you navigated feelings of alienation at work? Let's keep this conversation going. Until next time, take care and keep seeking wisdom.